Okay, we all absolutely adore our cats, right? But have you ever kind of felt like that affection just isn't a two-way street? Well, you definitely aren't imagining things, and you certainly aren't alone. Cats are incredibly intricate animals, and honestly, their actions can totally puzzle even the most dedicated owners. We've all heard that classic myth of the feline ice queen. The idea that cats are just naturally aloof, distant, and uncaring. But today, we're going to peel back the curtain on feline psychology. We'll be outlining specific signs that might suggest your cat isn't feeling quite as much affection as you'd hope. But hey, here is absolutely the most important thing to remember. The purpose of this explainer isn't to upset you or critique your pet parenting. It's really to guide you on how to spot silent distress signals, avoid things that might push your cat away, and ultimately help you become their ultimate safe haven.
So let's dive right into this. It's the core anxiety pretty much every cat owner faces at some point. Does my cat actually love me, or are they just using me for food? To figure that out, we have to pivot away from those old stereotypes and look directly at the real science of feline psychology. Because cats don't communicate like us, and they definitely don't communicate like dogs. What we might easily perceive as a cat just, well, being a jerk, is actually this deeply complex silent language. So let's dive into the science of exactly why your cat might be keeping their distance.
And to do this, we're going to explore 5 key areas in our empathy countdown. Missing the feline kiss, the impatient tail flick, silent stress scratching, litter box emotions, and finally, grooming and hiding behaviors.
All right, kicking things off with sign number 1, missing the feline kiss.
In the feline world, eyes are absolutely the primary tool for emotional connection. When your cat just locks in and holds a soft stare with you, it's a profound sign of trust. And this brilliantly illustrates a really cool phenomenon to look out for called the slow blink. That's when a cat looks at you and very slowly closes their eyes, almost as if they're lost in a lovely dream. A landmark 2020 study out of the University of Sussex actually confirmed this is a genuine form of positive communication. It's literally the feline equivalent of sending you a kiss or giving you a hug.
But we've got to look at the flip side here, because avoiding eye contact actually signals a lack of deep emotional security. If your kitty is deliberately avoiding your eyes, leaving the room the second you try to connect, or just totally ignoring your slow blinks, that actually indicates a level of distrust. Now, they aren't trying to insult you, they just simply don't feel that profound security with you just yet.
Moving right along to sign number 2, the impatient tail flick.
We constantly look to the tail to see how a pet is feeling, but as humans, we wildly misinterpret cat tail language all the time. This comparison right here is vital. While a dog wags its tail to show pure joy and excitement, a cat's tail flicking is generally a big negative sign. Just think of it as the feline version of a human impatiently tapping their foot. If their tail is flicking rapidly while they're near you, they are more than likely quite annoyed.
Out in nature, that flick clearly signals agitation. It's an active warning to predators or rivals to stay far away or prepare for aggression. So if you see this while you're just trying to pet them, they're telling you they'd really prefer to be left alone. Stopping your interaction the very moment that flicking starts is absolutely the first step in building a cat's respect for your boundaries.
Which brings us to sign number 3, scratching as silent stress.
Okay, it is time to officially debunk the misconception that cats scratch purely to ruin your expensive furniture or to spite you. Scratching is actually a deeply ingrained biological function. They use it to mark territory with scent glands located in their paws and to shed the dead outer layers of their claws. But here is the critical key. Excessive scratching is often a frantic coping mechanism for stress and anxiety. Tearing up your home isn't them being bad. It's a frantic attempt to manage environmental anxiety. Imagine you've had a horribly stressful day and you just find yourself pacing the floor. Well, this is exactly what your cat is doing. Changes in the home, like suddenly rearranged furniture or a totally new routine, can completely unsettle him. We absolutely must view this behavior with empathy rather than anger.
Let's move to and see how this builds right into our 4th sign, litter boxes and emotions.
Look, cats are naturally very hygienic animals, so when they start going outside the litter box, a lot of owners take it really personally. But their behavior here is actually a direct window into their emotional state. A study published in a feline medicine journal actually found a significant correlation between litter box problems and feline stress. They noted stressed cats were far more likely to have issues like inappropriate urination. So it's not a training issue at all, it's a stress issue.
I want you to emblazon this on your mind. Accidents aren't revenge for you being away at work. They really aren't. They are clinical signs of deep environmental discomfort. If that litter box is perfectly clean and its location hasn't changed at all, but the accidents keep continuing, your cat is not acting out of spite.
They are desperately trying to tell you that something in their environment is making them feel profoundly unsafe.
And finally, the fifth and honestly most silent signs in our empathy countdown: overgrooming and frequent hiding. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is understanding the why. We are talking about cats who totally vanish under the bed for hours on end or literally lick their fur raw. After you rule out physical causes like pain or fleas, you have to look at their deep, wild survival instincts. In the wild, showing any signs of illness makes a cat a super easy target. So if your normally social cat is suddenly hiding or aggressively overgrooming to self-soothe, it points to severe anxiety or an unsettling environment they simply cannot cope with right now.
This brings us to the climax of our explainer. If you've recognized any of these signs in your own cat, it is incredibly easy to feel guilty, or just assume your cat has a permanently grumpy personality. But we really need to shift the blame entirely away from the cat's personality and equally away from your worthiness as a pet parent.
Here is the ultimate empowering reframe. If your cats are exhibiting these behaviors, avoiding eye contact, flicking their tails, scratching excessively, having litter box issues, or hiding away, it's just because they're not doing well. And they aren't doing well because the environment isn't good for them right now. You are a massive part of that environment. And because you control their surroundings, you hold the absolute power to fix it.
So I'm going to leave you with this final provocative thought. What changes can you make in your home today to become their ultimate safe haven? Could you maybe provide more vertical space? Can you stop forcing interactions and just let them come to you on their terms? Can you practice and master that slow blink? By taking the science we've covered in this explainer today and really applying it with empathy, you have the incredible ability to rebuild trust, reduce their stress, and truly heal your relationship with your cat. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I challenge you to start seeing the world through your cat's eyes today.